Morning, Paul.
Morning.
How are you, man?
I'm okay.
Have a good weekend? I loved your rebuttal. You got some good responses.
Well, it's for us.
That's right.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to call our meeting to order. Want to welcome, want to welcome everybody here today. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Today's February 2nd, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Want to thank everybody for being here today. Hannah, do we have anyone online? Welcome to those online. Glad you could join us. Could we get a motion to approve our minutes of our regular meeting and work session held on January 20th, 2026?
Chairman, I'll move that we approve those minutes.
So move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Could we get a motion to approve our demands and handwritten warrants?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll also second that, and we've all reviewed them. We appreciate Julie Rodriguez being able to. She gives us a list of anything that's $1,000 or over for our review, so we appreciate that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll next hear from Sheriff P.J. Allred. Thank you for being here today, Sheriff.
Oh, you bet. Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
Good. So we have one item from the Sheriff's Office this morning, and we're asking for approval of professional services agreement with the WSW Security Solutions. That's for our annual inspections and maintenance of jail locks at our Graham County Jail. I'm sure you guys can imagine how important that is. We have some very good working jail locks in our facility. Yeah, it's about the contract. It's like $9,500, something like that, is what it is for our annual. Just for your information, the guy that was the next step that was also wanting this contract, he was $35,000. So that was the closest one to our. So we're going to 35 or about 9,500. And this guy that's doing this, our deal for us, he's been a local. He's kind of lives down around Miami a little bit too, some, but he's also has roots here in our valley, and so yeah, he's local for all practical purposes. But anyway, so we're just asking for that approval for him to be able to come in and do that for us, and it's really nice having him. Then of course, if we need him extra down the way, we make the phone calls. He will come and do that for us. And that might cost us just a little bit more, but it's still a long ways away from $35,000.
Definitely.
I appreciate you going out there and finding the best bang for your buck. And it's very, like you say, it's very important that our locks are up to standard and met. So I don't have an issue with this. So thank you, PJ.
You bet.
Yeah, and my comment, Mr. Chairman, is 120 or so locks. You know, one would think, well, gee, that's $80 a lock per year, but these aren't just the skeleton key locks. They're electronic. They're a lot more complicated, and if we do it in house and there's a problem, then it's our problem. And if we have that contracted out, then we have someone else who is helping to share the risk. And it's great that there's someone who's responsive. Is he related? Last name is Worrell. Is he related to our nurse in our facility? Do you know?
He was related to her.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, enough said.
I'm not supposed to say that in a public meeting.
It's okay.
Thanks. I'll go ahead and yeah, it's great that we have someone local and who will be responsive and not a help desk from who knows where. So I'll move to approve this contract.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Appreciate that.
Next, we have Mr. Bennett online with our county attorney's office. He was not able to be here today. So thank you for being online with us, Scott.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me appear remotely. I appreciate it.
Bet.
I have 2 agenda items, and you'll have to forgive me. I don't have a hard copy of the agenda. Could someone advise me as to which item is first so I can follow the proper order?
Yeah, so we have approval of out-of-state travel for 3 employees to attend the annual PBK training in St. Louis, Missouri on April 14th through the 16th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'd like to bring this before the board. It's an annual conference and training that we participate in every year. Our case management system, which is basically the heart of the entire office, is constantly going through updates and revisions, and we actually just paid through our last budget cycle for an interface which will allow our system to link with our Axon system and Spillman. And anyway, it's a really neat system. The problem is it's very, very IT intensive, and we basically need the updated training regularly. In the past, we've sent 3 people. That's our request for this year. What we're trying to do is send someone who represents kind of each area of our office. We'd like to send a lawyer. We'd like to send a legal assistant, and we're sending a victim advocate, assuming the board is kind enough to approve this request. We haven't purchased tickets yet, obviously, but our goal will be to minimize all expenses that we can. We plan to send them in the night before the conference starts. They'll be there through the conference, and if we can find the appropriate return flight, we'd like to even get them home when the conference ends. I think it's scheduled to end on that Friday at noon, so we can get them on a flight by, 2 or 3 o'clock. That's our goal. We're going to try to avoid, excessive, hotel costs and things like that. So basically, with permission, we're hoping that you'll allow us to do what we've done in the past, and we'll send 3 people. The conference takes place in St. Louis. It's all work. They don't schedule in. I know some conferences schedule in play days and things like that. This doesn't happen. They get in, they go to work, and then hopefully we'll fly them out as soon as the conference ends.
Great, thank you. Any questions, concerns from the board? Do we have a motion?
Here, I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel for the 3 employees for the PBK training in St. Louis, Missouri.
And I'll support by seconding the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, Mr. Bennett, we have a application for the 2027 Drug, Gang, and Violent Crime Control Grant through ACGJC.
Thank you. This is our annual grant. We've been able to secure this grant every year that I've been county attorney, and I'm confident my predecessor was able to secure it as well. It's how we pay. Well, there is a 25% match, but we basically typically request sufficient funds to pay one of our attorney's salary. He's our drug crimes prosecutor. So what we'd like to do is what we do in the past, and that's go ahead and apply for the grant. Hopefully ACJC will be kind enough to give it to us again, and we'll be able to continue to fund our drug prosecutor position through this grant.
Great. Questions or
Very,
concerns?
very important to try to get this grant. Appreciate you going after it, Scott.
You bet. It's nice to be able to sometimes bring money in as opposed to just ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chairman, I would note, and Scott, thank you. I'd note that it's a 25% match, but that is well worth it. I was looking at some of the goals and objectives on your grant application and talking about the number of drug-related cases submitted by law enforcement in this last year, 506. And of those, 45 were dismissed, 9 were diverted to a program, and 383 convictions. And that is, it's bittersweet. It's sad to see that we have that problem, but it's great that we're not pretending that we don't or don't have the resources to take care of that and hold people accountable, that we have a high awareness and that our law enforcement feels like a citation or a stop will be prosecuted. And so I really appreciate that, and would like at some point in the future, in a perfect world, for that number to drop, just because people decide to do the right things. But yeah, I wish you well in getting this grant.
Thank you.
And I'll have you, do you
I
want-
haven't made a
okay,
motion.
I'll go ahead and move, Mr. Chairman, that we go ahead and approve the application by our county attorney's office for the 2027 drug gang and violent crime control grant through ACJC.
And I will second that gladly.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Appreciate you and travel safely.
Hey, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate being allowed to appear remotely. Ms. B should be there, so with permission, I'll go ahead and punch out.
Great, thank you. Next, we will hear from our treasurer, Cindy Orr. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, and I appreciate this opportunity. I have for you today an offer for an over-the-counter tax deed on tax parcel 106-20025A. This offer meets the minimum requirement to cover all the taxes, fees, and costs for foreclosure on this parcel, and we're asking for your approval.
Great.
Just thank you, Cindy. I have no problem. Of course, we're gonna, I approve this.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye, thank you.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, and appreciate
do.
you getting those cleaned up and collecting money. That's great. All right, next we will hear from Hannah. Morning, Hannah.
Good morning. I'm
morning.
here to ask the board's approval to appoint some precinct committeemen. Our Democrat Party chairman submitted us a list of people who are available to fill a couple of precincts, and those precincts do have available seats. For Precinct 2, which is Safford, it has 5 available seats currently. For Safford number 3, it has 1. For Precinct 15, which is also Safford, has 4 available. And then for Precinct 20, Artesia, there's 2. So I'm here to ask the board's approval to go ahead and appoint those 4 to those positions.
Great. Always appreciate people volunteering to help with our elections. Any questions from the board?
Well, that's part of our democratic process. It's great to have those additional people available. So I would move that we approve the request to appoint the precinct committeeman for the Democratic Party.
I will second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Next, we will hear from McCoy Hawkins, the IT department.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm here to ask for approval of 3 IT policies. While we informally have followed these policies over the years, this is our 3 of them that we have hired out, helped to create these policies. Allison in my department has spent a lot of time on these 3, and we have got approval through the attorney's office also to formally approve these. And this is some of our financial audit findings. We're still going to have a finding this year, but hopefully next year some of them findings are taken away because we're coming up to their standards, and the goalpost does get moved by the auditors, so that doesn't mean that it's completely going to be gone away, because now we're on a 200-yard field instead of a 100-yard field with them. So
Thank you, McCoy. Any questions from the board,
None for me.
concerns?
No.
Yeah, there was those policies were many, many, many pages. I kept reading about the incident response, and one thinks about emergency response, but this is a different kind of incident. Can you explain just briefly what an incident response is? Because it wasn't really clear. I'm guessing that there's some kind of like a breach in security, or what does that mean, an incident response?
yeah, in an incident of, for instance, a cybersecurity incident where the procedures aren't here, this is only the policy, but the procedures will you don't have to approve them, but there'll be procedures of us who and when to call out at certain events. And so, for instance, a cybersecurity event, the first response would be to our insurance pool after I called my staff in. That's one of the requirements. And then the state has some people that we need to call also just to get the ball moving. So that is what this incident response refers to, not just cybersecurity, but we have other responses here in the county that would be calling people out for, but that's an example of one.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the explanation.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve as written.
And I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, McCoy. We'll next hear from Steve McGoy with our Planning and Zoning Department. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Last meeting, we had an application for the Big Buck Contest liquor license, and there were some changes made to it at the last minute. Because we had time, we decided to make those changes before we brought it to you, so here we are. This event is, excess of 50 years old. Started by the Elks back in the 70s sometime, and been almost continuous with the exception of probably COVID. And this will be the last day of February. It's a Saturday from 3 in the afternoon to almost midnight. And they would like your approval of that, and so would I.
Okay. Big Buck Contest is a great event that we have in the valley. Always in good time.
So one of the longest going events we've had in the valley, and successful. I think everybody in the whole county and more than our county looks forward to this every single year. Of course, I'm a big advocate of it because of my hunting background, but yeah, it's a great event. And the good thing about this event, it raises money for our wildlife. Southeastern Arizona Sportsman Club, they go out all year long and fix our waters up in the hills. And believe me, I've watched it, and I know quite a few of them. They go in some pretty rugged places and do some pretty rugged work, and they benefit the wildlife, something fierce. So this is a great fundraiser.
Yep. And I would just add, thanks for those comments. I just add that they have been very responsible in the past. I can't remember any problems. They've got not only two either off duty or two security personnel, but they've got two police officers or law enforcement officers who are there, and so it's very, very well policed and run well. So I'm pleased to support it and the temporary license for them, and would move to approve the special event liquor license.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Steve. Next, we will hear from our County Manager, Dustin Welker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This next item is to approve a funding agreement with the Arizona Department of Housing for our Community Development Block Grant, which we refer to as our CDBG funding. As the board's well aware, every 4 years, we are in a rotation to receive these funds, and it's been almost a year ago that we started this process. It is federal funding, so there's a lot of hoops to jump through to be able to get it. We've had a couple of public meetings, and submitting an application to ADOH takes time as well. But we are there. Our application was approved, and this is the actual funding agreement, so we can receive the funds and start the project. The project consists of almost half a mile, 2,500 feet of 5-foot sidewalk around the Graham County Fairgrounds, mainly up around the Upper Duck Pond area, which goes around and weaves through some of our new parking lots out there, which will also provide ADA parking spaces in those parking lots, which will be concrete spaces, and marked for ADA access. The total dollar amount on this is $291,022. Some of those funds will go to SEGO. They help us administer this grant, and the remainder will go to the project. Because it's federal money, there's a lot of rules with Davis-Bacon wages and all that, so the money doesn't always go as far as we wish it would, but it is very much appreciated. We through our fairgrounds improvement plan, we're able to develop the concept of the sidewalks, and thanks to Eric and Johnny in our engineering department, they've taken those concept plans from Bowman and are in the process of developing the actual plans that will go to bid here in the next couple months. So this is a funding agreement, the first step to get this project up off the ground, or I guess the next step, not the first step. And we ask the board for your approval for the funding agreement with Arizona Department of Housing.
Thank you, Manager Welker. This is exciting that we received this money because we do have a lot of big changes coming at the fairgrounds. So this just kind of falls in and helps us fund that. Any other questions from the board?
I just think the community is going to be benefited so much by what we're working so hard, Dustin and your crew and the fairgrounds crew and everybody else is involved. Fairgrounds is going to be eventually a place that this whole community can go and appreciate, and it's going to be beautified with our recent water we got from the city of Sanford. Thank them and their efforts there for us. But this fairgrounds is going to be a showstopper for it's all over with, I have a feeling, and I appreciate everything you guys has done out there. So I'm totally on board and would go ahead and make a motion, if it's all right, Supervisor David, to accept this CDBG money of $291,022 for the sidewalks.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the next item is just a little bit of a cleanup and amendment from last meeting. At our last meeting, we brought some reclassifications to the board for our highway department. As you recall, we've really struggled staffing our highway department of late. So our HR department did a very comprehensive study on salaries, and we determined that we needed to increase those in most categories at the highway yard. One item that we just placed on the agenda incorrectly was for the sign technician. On the agenda item, it said it was from a range of 18 to a 19, and we just simply had that wrong. So this is just to amend that action. Rather than from a range 18 to a range 19, it was from a range 17 to a range 18. So this is just to clean up a little clerical error we had on our agenda item. Great.
Was the sign, if the sign technician was looking at the minutes from the last meeting and counting his money, we have to take some back, right?
Motion?
I'll move that we approve this amendment to the salary reclass that we did at our last meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Now we have an opportunity for members of the board and the county manager to present a brief summary of current events, and we will start with Manager Welker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I want to thank the IT department, McCoy and Allison and Tanner for working on those policies. It is a little bit of a heavy lift, and we've been working on them for a while. And like McCoy mentioned, next will be the procedures, and it's tough working with these IT policies because a lot of them are as a result of our audits, and in the audits they have to be very general of what they want us to do. So some of those policies are also fairly general, but the specifics will be in the procedures, which will be in-house and not available to the public for a lot of reasons. But anyway, thank you, board, for being patient with us as we've been developing those. And like McCoy said, you know, it is a moving goalpost, and sometimes it feels like it's a 200-yard field, but McCoy's got a really good leg, can kick those long field goals, so we're going to make it happen. Just for everyone in the room and maybe online, just a reminder, we are in employee evaluation season, and our HR department has sent out all those evals, and just want to remind our department heads and elected officials to please be working on those for a due date in early March. So please keep an eye on those. Just a few updates on some of our projects. We have a lot of projects going on over at our Main Street building. Remodel for our county attorney's office. The contractor's moving pretty quick. He's framing the interior walls. We have a sprinkler and electrician contractor running pipes and wires and doing a lot of work in there. For our fairgrounds master plan, we received full construction drawings. We reviewed those in-house, returned comments to Bowman, and they're working on addressing our comments. The other piece of that puzzle is the main water line that will be the new water line carrying all the reclaimed water from the upper pond, and those are 60% complete. And Eric and Johnny have been reviewing those this past week, and we should have some comments back to them shortly. This morning, part of this whole project too over at the fairgrounds is deepening our upper pond and lining it, and we'll be talking about that in our work session today. But this morning our highway department went over there and dammed up about half of the pond, and Trey's got a pump coming if it's not here already, and we'll be pumping out that section on the east side where we'll eventually be pumping out of in the future once we eliminate that lower pond. I gave you an update on the CDBG project. Our Armory Road Fairground sign, that's our stagnant sign out there that we're no longer using. Summit West Signs is planning on installing and painting that sign on February 16th. So we're getting a little closer to having our new sign out there on Armory Road. Superior Court has been wanting pews in their courtroom for almost a decade now, and we're able to work with Arizona Correctional Institute and getting a plan and a quote. We did finally get that quote back, and it is within our budget, so we're just working on receiving some other competing quotes, and then we'll get going with that project. We've also been working a lot on the courthouse improvement. I'm not going to call them plans yet, but just researching what needs to be done. Our courthouse is in need of a lot of maintenance. If you look up at a lot of the corbels and the decorative metal all around the courthouse, it's well over 100 years old now. It's all original, but a lot of it has deteriorated and rusted out, and we're working on a plan to restore that. A lot of leaking issues on the roof, on the concrete parking lot, and other areas everywhere that we're looking at creating a scope of work to address as well. It is a historic building on the National Register, so we have to be cognizant of that and working through all of those issues. But in this process, we're also looking at what it would look like to do additional improvements, additions on that. Everything's very much at a rendering and an idea stage, but we are preparing to present to the board in their work session on March 2nd the findings from all the work that we've been doing over there, and presenting some ideas to get your direction on going forward. Over in the central area, some people know, some people don't, but we own a park, and we have for a long time. It doesn't look like much of a park, but we've developed plans for that park to add a lot of grass over there, so we have a usable field for soccer and baseball. We're adding a gazebo, a large gazebo, a lot of sidewalks, a lot of curbing, a parking lot, some lighting, and other things like that. So we're excited for this project. It's out to bid right now. It will be opened in our next meeting on Tuesday, February 17th. The Weech property that we purchased over here to the east a couple years ago was the commercial piece fell to us, and we've Matt Hart and his crew, give all the credit to him, have been working really hard cleaning that up and They're doing a good job and getting a lot closer. Another project we had was over at the senior center. We partnered up with them and did all new flooring on that first floor, and just wanted to report that that was complete and was a successful project with carpet tile and more, and they did a really good job. We appreciate them working with us. Over at the ag building, another project we have was to insulate the ceiling of that second half of the ag building, which will make a tremendous improvement, and we have that project out to bid right now, and those bids will be opened up on March 2nd. We also received direction from the board to put together a project in that ag building to add 2 more of those very large fans, and in that process to do an electric upgrade. That building is full of halogen lights that are very inefficient and inconvenient trying to light up that building. So we've come up with a plan to replace those with LED lights, and also to swap out the 2 200 amp panels in there with new panels and add some light switches. So we're excited for that. Well, I'm in the process of receiving quotes, and we'll be bringing that project to you at the next meeting for your possible approval to add it to the budget. Just wanted to report on something that Colin and Brian are working on, and that's an emergency management plan. You'll probably remember we had been seeking money from DFFM for a long time to update our community wildlife protection plan, and we tried many times but were unsuccessful. But to DFFM's credit, they've come to us and said they have funding for us. They've hired a consultant called Hudson Environmental, and Brian and Colin had a kickoff meeting with them last week to start that process. The Board of Supervisors will definitely be involved with that as they develop a plan and get closer, but we're grateful for the state for financially taking that on for us, and we're anxious to get that decade-plus old plan updated, which will help us with funding grants and different things going forward. A lot of things going over at the fairgrounds. I just want to report, as EAC is redoing their football field and putting in turf, they've offered some really good dirt to anyone that wants it, and we've been hauling truckload after truckload of that dirt out to the fairgrounds and stockpiling it. A lot of it's real silty and sandy, which will be good for cover right now in our existing fields, and then as we're looking at adding fields out there, we'll have some really good fill dirt too to build on. They're also working on replacing some of our older wood dugouts that have lived their life, and we're building some metal dugouts and awnings in-house that we're working on installing right now during the winter when the grass has given us a little bit of a break. Over at the highway yard, they're working a lot on crack sealing in a lot of different places, getting ready for chip seal season, doing a lot of brush cutting and those kind of things. And I also wanted to report the annual bids that we opened up a couple meetings ago. They've awarded the 3/8 chips, went to Tri-County Materials, the culvert pipe to Pacific Corrugated, petroleum products to Arizona Petroleum, emulsified asphalt to Western Emulsions, the grater blades to Empire, the AB to CKC Construction, the cold mix to CKC Construction, and signpost to Elite Textile Trading LLC. I think we'll have plenty of time in our work session to go over the engineering projects, which are quite a bit. One of them I'll just report on the Gila River Linear Park. They gave us a date. They're gonna, this month, the next month, they'll be doing the environmental clearances on that, and that's part of the contract with Jacobs. Like I said, we'll talk about the other projects in our work session. So that's my report for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Manager Welker. Vice Chairman David.
Thank you, Chairman. Wanted to share just some of my activities and the opportunities to represent the county. I was joined last week by both of you at the city council meeting, Actually, it was the Monday, the 26th, at the city council meeting, where they were, one of the agenda items was to review the procedure to advertise for a county or a city manager. But the prior week, I was involved in a couple what I would consider important activities. Went to Phoenix on Tuesday evening for in preparation for today's meetings at the state. We met the County Supervisors Association met as a group. The executive committee, we went over and talked to the Speaker of the House and shared some of our concerns, especially with voting and some of their resolutions and things they're planning on they'd like to modify voting, so we talked about that. Then later that day, there was an Eastern Counties Organization meeting talking about what they call the biofuel, where they thin forests to prevent it from being overgrown and being fire hazards, and then they've got to do something. They either have to burn the waste in slash piles, but they've got a better solution, and that is to take that material and haul it to Snowflake, where they generate electricity from that slash, and also they have a lumber mill there for the larger diameter trees. That evening, was joined again by our board. We had a legislative reception in Dustin, where I think there are 25 legislators from the state who came across the street, and we had a chance to visit, renew, and make new contacts, and that was worthwhile. The following day, there was a board meeting. We were addressed by the Chief Justice of the Arizona Supreme Court, had a good question and answer session, and then following that meeting, on my way home, stopped by the Cindy Kerr, who's a dairy farmer from the west part of the state. She's now the Forest Service agency with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and her office is in Phoenix, and we were looking and talking to her about the livestock indemnity program and the disparity. New Mexico, just one county in New Mexico, had $5 million of claims over the last 10 years, and all of Arizona over the last 10 years had $500,000 in claims for depredation and weather-related losses and drought losses. And so we were asking why is there why aren't our ranchers available, aren't able to get that kind of funding? And so she is going to look into that and report back, so that'll help our ranching community. The following week, talked about the Safford City Council meeting. Wednesday, there's a organization that I'm a member of, are the Samaritan House down on the highway, catty corner to Casa Manana. The last time we had a community development block grant, we allocated our $280,000 or so dollars and helped to create that respite center, which is now providing shower facilities, laundry facilities, a snack, a place for people who aren't feeling well to come and rest during the daytime. No overnight, no weekend facilities, but it does, and also they send those people out as needed for counseling, for other resources. And so that is something that the county has been, along with Dr. Jones and the Gila Valley Ministerial Association, wonderful partnership, great results. Once a year, you may have read about Maricopa County, but once a year, the state has Arizona Department of Housing has a point in time count where we go out and try to determine how many homeless people we have in our area, and there's a brief oral questionnaire. We over 75 people in Graham and Greenlee County. I think there were a little less than a dozen in Greenlee, mostly in Duncan, and we had quite a few in the non-tribal areas of Graham County, another 55 or 60. And then we, this year, for the first time, had authorization to conduct a little 4-hour survey in Bylas and Peridot. And their numbers are significant. The whole purpose of this is to show, it's kind of like the livestock indemnity. We show that there's a real need, and that the funding needs to come to Graham County for outreach and services, in addition to the homeless problems in Tucson and Phoenix. It's no badge of honor to have a large homeless population, but it's important that we address it. And there's a number of success stories, not just the chronically homeless, people who are going to be the same people next year and the year after, if their health allows, but there are people who need a little help up, and just a little assistance before they can become self-reliant again and independent. So I'm really pleased to represent the county and work on that, and that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Vice Chairman. Supervisor Howard?
Just briefly here, I attended the chamber meeting, as I usually do every month. I'm kind of the county liaison over there and keep up with what's going on in the chamber. But one thing I just wanted to briefly talk about, I got to go down to the ribbon cutting of EAC's new facility down at Pima High School. They have partnered up with Pima down there and took over their high school building there, and it's an amazing facility. They've got, I think there's 8 welding stations in there to teach students how to weld through the gift program here at in Thatcher, partnering with them as well. But they have welding, they have upholstery, they have woodworking, and there's one other, I can't remember what it was. But they went in there and revamped that whole building, and it's given our youth, and also not only our youth, but the EA's offering anybody 55 and older to go in there and take woodworking classes, welding classes, upholstery classes, whatever. But it's amazing that they come up, and Sean Record was involved in that as well, the spearhead on it, and they've took that building and made a useful facility out of it to benefit our citizens of Graham County. There was a young lady in there that was in the welding program. She talked about it and how much it's done in her life. So just want to take a minute and thank EAC, Pima, the gift program, and all those involved for doing that. It's looking out for the future of our kids and also for the elderly, in which I'm one of, in this county, to to broaden their horizons. So just thank you for that. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Supervisor Howard. I don't have a lot to add. I attended some of the same stuff as the rest of the board. I do always enjoy the reception that we have at CSA, just the opportunity to mingle with some of our legislators and also the other supervisors, just hear kind of some ideas of what's working in other counties, and it's always a good opportunity. With that said, we're going to go ahead and close our regular meeting and have a public hearing, and we will turn the time over to Steve McGoy with our planning and zoning.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Here for 2 public hearings, and I kind of think they're going to be short and sweet. I don't see any opposition to either, and we have received no opposition to either. First one will be REZ 945-25. This is parcel number 10607-062. This is at the corner of Lebanon Road and 191 on the would be the southwest corner. The request is made by Jeff and Karen Martin of Joby's Convenience Market LLC. Don't be confused, it's a mile south of there. They want to rezone from AR, which is part of a a rezoning that happened 30-something years ago for a subdivision that never happened, but they'd like to get out of that AR and change to commercial manufacturing. They intend to put a water and ice station similar to what's across the street on there, plus some commercial buildings similar to what's going on just south of the Thatcher reclamation plant. And that's a possibility, at least. They'll see what people ask for there. They've got almost 3 acres, but they would like to build a little moneymaker, I think. I see no reason not to. The property has been a blight property and been a concern for us for a long time. And the Martins have been asking, can we please clean it up? And I think we want to let them. So if we'll allow them to do their commercial venture there, they will clean that mess up and we'll have a much better looking corner.
I agree. If Jeff and Karen are here today, if you look at the ice and water facilities they've put in already, they're nice, landscaped, they keep them clean, and definitely that corner has been an eyesore since I was a little kid riding a bicycle. Long time, so I'm excited to see them do something there and clean it up.
Yeah, I second that. I want to thank you guys for all you've done with a lot of these properties you've taken. They've been out of the way, but kind of eyesore type properties. You went in and cleaned them up and made them very nice and and the community is responding to you very well. I'm happy to see these things, especially out there. I have no problem with this whatsoever.
Thank you. I've got a question for you, Steve, and that is in regards to, I believe there's a dedicated turn lane, which is positive for people who are going northbound and turning into that facility and also that intersection. My question was that can be kind of dark out there. Do we have any, does ADOT, and I don't believe they do, but does ADOT have any intersection lighting at that corner?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Is
there's a right turn lane onto Lebanon for southbound, and
Okay.
there's a left turn lane for northbound. Both.
Yeah, and I note that your facilities, like here on the highway, that you do have lighting, but I would just encourage, I'm in favor of this. It's on the US 191 corridor. That's where we're seeing commercial, we want to see commercial businesses, but I would encourage for safety that it be as well lit as you can for the for people who come in. And I'm always amazed at the number of people come into town to because the water is a little bit brackish out there, and people with 5-gallon blue containers who are filling up at the different Circle K's and wherever they can get water, just because of the need for water. So I believe you'll be very successful there, and it'll be great for the neighborhood and shorten those people's errands. So I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the rezone for this parcel.
I'll be glad to second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, I assume there was no one here to speak to it. Also, that's another one of Jeff's fortes is lighting. So if you notice, all his places are well lit up at night.
Yes.
So. Our second one is REZ 946-25. It's a strip within 3 parcels along the railroad tracks in Ashurst. Request was made by Freeport McMoran to rezone from A, general land use, to M, manufacturing, for truck offloading. The address is 325 feet west of the Arizona Eastern Railroad right-of-way and approximately 3,570 feet running along the railroad. within those parcels. They're here today to tell us what they want to do, and we're here to listen. So, unless you want to take my word for it.
Morning, Mr. Wenham.
Good morning, Chairman and Board Manager. Didn't realize we were going to say anything, but happy to speak to it briefly. You know, our intention is to construct a pretty modest facility, which is a sulfuric acid transload facility. So it's comprised of 3 pieces of mobile equipment. There's a railroad siding that comes off the main line out onto these properties, a track that runs immediately parallel to the main track, and then a paved driveway, both inbound and outbound, wherein carrier trucks would drive on the driveway. There's a asphalt paved area in between the driveway and the railroad tracks where this mobile transload equipment is moved between train cars and carrier trucks to transfer sulfuric acid from one vehicle to the other. And the opportunity being that we're currently, any of the transloading that's happening is trucks that are coming from Benson and driving down the I-10 corridor, 191, up to the Safford mine that way, or it's being driven to the Morenci mine where it's transloaded into trucks and then driven from Morenci down 191 to the Safford mine. So this would basically remove those more eastbound trucks, reduce them significantly or remove them entirely, and allow us an opportunity to bring some train cars in with that material. So yeah, hopefully we've got reasonable overview on it. It's pretty modest. It's a Monday plan for Monday through Friday, daylight hours, and yeah.
Great.
Questions?
Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for coming to our work session and kind of going over this more in depth with the board. We appreciate you guys, and Freeport's a good partner with the county, and we appreciate having them. Any questions from the board for Mr. Wenham?
We certainly had a great meeting with you. All issues and concerns were addressed. If they weren't addressed, they will be addressed. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to partner again with FMI, and I thank you guys as well for partnering with us and being who you are. So I'm okay with this.
I did have a question. You talked about the eastbound coming in and the northbound from the Wilcox area, you know, but also there'll be a reduction in the amount of traffic coming from the Miami area too. Won't there be?
No, unfortunately, this doesn't affect the truck traffic from Miami. I mean, part of the economics of it is just that Safford mine consumes such a large amount of sulfuric acid, just our ore types,
Okay.
Compared to others within the company. And so the proximity of the Safford mine to Miami operations, both Safford and Morenci, but Safford's kind of the major consumer. So until or when, I should say, when and if we are able to have a rail spur that gets us directly to the site, we're still very reliant on trucks to bring material from Miami to Safford.
Okay. But there'll be a significant, I think I didn't know if the 300 per day was still the proposed reduction in through town traffic, or whether there's fewer than that. But it would still be a reduction in 18-wheel tanker trucks coming through town. Won't change the number on Norton Road, but it'll change the number through town. Is that correct?
Other parts of town, yeah. So about 30 trucks a day on average, and that's
okay.
kind of pulling it out over a 365-day calendar year. So
that's where you get the 10,000 or 11,000.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So 30 per day.
We'll get some better numbers from our transportation team to have that discussion. Our intention is to do some community open house kind of events later this quarter to kind of provide more opportunity for the public to learn about the project and ask questions and have some dialogue. So
great.
We'll definitely dig into that a bit more.
All right.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this rezoning on these parcels are written to from A, general land use, to M, manufacturing for truck offloading.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
But did we have the public, did the public get a chance to say anything?
Do we have anybody here from the public
To
that wanted
oppose
to
or
comment on that?
support? Yeah, that was just my question before you close the hearing.
Seeing none. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Motion passes. Thank you, Steve. Hannah, do we have anyone for the call to the public? Okay. Just want to thank you all again for being here today, and we will adjourn our meeting.